Hi, everybody. This is G from Beyond Borders, the international student podcast that shares the struggles and the rewards of this one-of-a-kind experience. Today, we are here with Maxi, former student athlete, soccer player from Austria, from Duquesne University. So happy to have you here today.
Yeah, nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course. Do you want to start sharing a little bit your story? Why did you decide to come to the US? Why did you decide to go to a D1 school?
Yeah, sure. So, I think I grew up like many of international students in Austria, and I didn't think any of it. And obviously, I was a soccer player already there. And then eventually, there's the time where it was go pro or do something else. And I actually have an older brother who went pro, and then it didn't work out for him. So the mindset that I got from my family was always, hey, school first.
Okay.
And then eventually it was clear for me that I want to study or I need to study while playing soccer. And since in the US is unique model of being like a pro player in some sense and studying, I came here. At first the idea was, okay, I look at it for a year and have a good time and then come back home. And then I saw all the opportunities and the possibilities. And then I said, okay, I stay for 3.5 and finish a bachelor's degree. And now it's my 5th year, the end, and have basically finished my master's degree and played soccer here all the time and experienced a lot of things I don't want to miss.
I bet. Interesting. So you already knew the system of America before coming to the US? Like, did you learn it through an agency or like did you just figure it out yourself?
I didn't know the system. I just knew the unique thing of combining playing at the school. That was all I understood. And then I had an agent who I ran into, like it was all like coincidence, and I ran into this guy because he was a friend of my brother, and it all kind of happened at the same time, and then he got me to the US basically, or helped.
Did you add more options before choosing Duquesne, or like did you just end up at Duquesne?
Yeah, I did have a couple other options, but Duquesne seemed for me the best because I remember I said I want to go to the beach or to a city.
The city got
yeah, and Duquesne won.
And do you regret your decision, or you feel like?
Not at all. It's a great city. The location of the campus is, in my opinion, amazing.
Okay.
And I had 5 good years with good coaches that I got along very well. And yeah, we had everything we need, and we've traveled to other places where I'm like, wow, I don't know what I would do at this campus with a couple thousand people in the middle of nowhere. So I'm happy with everything. We can walk to the Target, to Southside, to downtown.
I get that a lot, and I feel that a lot of people do not understand how huge is that in a day-to-day life, because they see the facility of like school in the middle of nowhere are usually way better than school in the middle of the city. But then you get out of the campus and you have nothing. And as an international student, where you don't have a car, you don't have the research of like regular American students, it's very hard to navigate life. So having like a Target next to you definitely makes a difference.
Yeah, and at the beginning you also don't know all these things, so I just got lucky because I didn't understand that there is not really that good of bus lines that you can just take, or there is some here, but no one really takes the buses around that much, so.
I get that. You were a captain of your team.
Yep.
What did it got to you to get to that position, and how was that experience? Like, what did you learn for that? Because I feel that the captain role in the team in the US is very different than from back home. Like, at least that's what it is for Balbo. So
yeah,
what is your story about it?
Yeah, I'm extremely competitive, so coming here I wanted to be the best from the first day I stepped on the field, and I came here with that mindset. So that kind of pushed me in that situation, because if you step out somewhere and you say I want to be the best, often being the captain, if you're able to be the best or be one of the top performers in your team, gets you in that position. And so with my age, I was a little bit older when I came here. I was able to step up in that role and definitely claim it from that sense, I would say. And it was a huge learning curve, because I came here as one of the young players in a team. In Austria, I was the young talent who could do whatever I wanted, because I was the super young guy who was just running along, and there was the older guys who made the decisions, and I said, okay. And then here I was suddenly someone where everyone looked up to, and it was a big transition with a steep learning curve where you have to realize, okay, if you not go to a class or say something wrong to a teacher, it could happen that the teacher calls you coach after and is like, hey, what's going on with Maxi? Which in Europe is unheard of, that things like that are connected. So, or you walk out of your dorm and someone is like, hey, how are you? And I'm like, I've never seen you before. So there was a big responsibilities that come with it, but I was really happy to do it and wanted to claim that position.
Okay, interesting. I also feel that like within your team, like within your teammates, you are the person that everybody's referring to, and you're kind of like the communicator between them and the coach, and that gives you that type of pressure that you need to perform all the time, not just on the field but also outside of the field. Do you agree with it?
I agree, but there is sometimes a lot of smoke blowing up around it, because I don't believe in all that communication blah blah. Like at the end of the day we need to win games, and the players that play are mostly happy and the players that don't play mostly complain. So, yes, you're the captain of a team, but I don't, like, if someone has a problem, I don't make any decisions. I can talk to him and say what I would do, but there is not, like, there is a way and a place to do it. And often, like, people are like, oh my God, I'm so important and I do this and I do that. Yeah, I'm there every day and I'm trying to lead the team and help my friends around by going in the right direction, but the coach makes the decisions and I'm just doing what the coach says. So some of the things where I like step myself down too, and it's like, hey, we have a coach that gives a direction and I'm just part of the team at the end of the day.
Makes sense. Have you ever faced some difficulties in this role? Like, do you have an example of when you had to make a tough decision, and what did you do?
For sure, I think tough decisions are every day. Like every morning you walk in the locker room and you have a little decision to make that's like, hey, do I walk around and say hi to everyone, or do I just scream hey everyone, or do I just sit down and open my phone and go out and play, or am I 10 minutes early or 10 minutes late? Do I set my alarm a little bit earlier? So I think that those little decisions are what make a difference, and people eventually see it, because once you get to the big decisions, it's already too late. If you're always the last one in the locker room and then suddenly you want to make a speech at halftime, everyone's going to say, now you speak.
I love how you mentioned that.
So there were half times where we went in the locker room and people argued, and I stood up and tried to calm down and make people stop talking. Obviously, with the age, try to make sure that you calm down the younger players that are more nervous, but that's all accumulating from the little decisions that you're making every day.
You gotta put the work before to get to that point in that right moment. I really like the fact that you mentioned that, because I feel that it's something that back at home doesn't happen. Like, that's what I never experienced something like this with volleyball back at home. Maybe because I also didn't do it semi-professional like you did, but I feel that home is more like, oh, we are here, we're playing, we want to win, but outside of this is not pressure. And here it gets your whole life. Like, literally, if you lose a game after a loss, it's tough to get into the locker room and talk. Like, you had to build up that type of confidence and that type of respect within your team to be able to talk in
100%.
These kind of situations.
And also what no one speaks about is the crazy travels, because in soccer we only play in the fall, so we play twice a week. And to play Wednesday away and then drive home half the night, and it's 1 a.m. when you get out of the bus, and the next day at 9 a.m. you have the next training session. So it's not only that you are just lost and you're pissed at everyone, but you're also sleep deprived and annoyed because your back hurts from sitting in the bus half the night. So
it's tough. It's definitely a tough life.
It's fun now.
Looking back,
yeah.
Whenever you actually have to wake up at 7 a.m. after a long trip, it's not that fun for sure.
Nah.
I know you're a computer science major, which is definitely not an easy major. How did you balance the demand of like sports with your actual major and your academic commitment?
So I had kind of a good experience to work full-time before coming to the US for 6-9 months. And so then if you compare a student day to an 8-hour work day, you have a lot of time, because you use 8 hours effectively without Instagram or just hanging around with your friends. So kind of took that approach on, hey, I always try to reach out first and do my stuff as early as possible and get the help that I needed to. I was always in study hours and tutors for writing, because I can't even write in German nice, so in English all those essays we had to do I wasn't a big fan of, but just taking all the help that was there, plus putting in a little bit of effort, and that worked very well for me.
Was it as hard as people say? Because I feel that there is a lot of like stigma about a D1 where you have to dedicate like literally 80% of your time to your sport and you don't have a life outside of that. Do you agree with it, or like do you feel that it's a little bit overrated?
So it all depends how good you are, how good you want to get, and where you want to go, because we've had people that are the best and they could play and have a decent life because they played without training extra and without focusing every single minute on soccer and on playing. But I also know people that did that because they wanted to achieve something more and they wanted to level up. So I think you can make it that way, and you can definitely use it as a jumping board.
Mm-hmm.
But you can also live a little. If you come in an international and you perform well, you can enjoy. Like, no one is going to be mad at you if you enjoy a little bit, if you score some goals. But if you don't score some goals,
that's when it gets
next person in. That's the risk you have to take.
Makes sense. Interesting perspective, that's for sure. Sliding a little bit more on the difference between Europe and US, what is the main difference on like soccer that you experienced or that you noticed?
Yeah, it's tough to put that in one thing, because I always say that soccer in the US, if you're a good athlete, you play basketball, American football, baseball, and then maybe someone sends you to soccer. But in Europe, if you're good at sports, yeah, you play soccer. That's the first thing as a guy, I'd say, in Austria.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a whole different idea around it. And after that, it's the teams and leagues in Austria. There are so many leagues and you can play everywhere and fully competitive because it's with adults. And here in the US, you suddenly play in a age-capped setting where after it's like I can't play anymore now because I'm out of eligibility.
Mm-hmm.
But I could still probably play with the guys or a little bit lower. Like I could eventually still do it if I train a little bit. But I'm not allowed to, so their level goes lower because they have an age cap.
I totally agree with that. How do you feel about that? Like the fact that you have to stop, because I don't know, it's something that I'm struggling personally. Like as you, I run out of eligibility in this semester, and it's like I literally went from practice every day, every 3 games per week, from one day to another, not volleyball anymore, because you are not allowed in the gym anymore. You're not allowed to do anything with the team anymore, and it's such a hard shift. Whereas back in Europe, it's something that you get to decide. Here is something that somebody else decide for you. Yeah. How you're coping with that?
I run a lot. I sign up for the marathon, so
I get that. I'm doing the same.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep myself somewhat busy and active. I played Sunday League yesterday the first time, but it's also something that I looked forward to in some sense, because soccer was my life until now. I dedicated every summer, every winter, every minute to soccer. Every weekend I trained Saturday, Sunday. I never went on a long vacation without doing anything. I was always training, and it's the hours that I ran in the darkness in the winter in snow and at home, the gyms, everything. It was really nice, but it's also cool to think I can do something else now with that time.
I get it.
I'm trying to see it that way, but obviously it's tough to think that missing the connections and the people. I'm missing that.
I feel that that's the main thing, like the connection with the people, because mostly whenever you come to the US, the team becomes the main source of your connection, the human connection I'm talking about, or friends in general. So being pulled out from that environment is definitely hard.
Yeah, it is, for sure. Since I was here so long, also my first friends left already, so it was different. I kind of went through different sets of friends because I was the last one left from my friends that I started here with. But it's tough and it's change and it's super interesting, but you cannot explain it to someone who has not experienced it.
So real.
It's almost like brothers and sisters, the people you live with and you cope with every day, about wins, losses, about being alone in a different country. It's a different kind of connection that you share that's very, very hard to explain if you haven't been in it, right?
I totally agree. It's like the people that I met here, I've seen side of myself that I don't even think the people that know me for the whole life back at home ever saw. It just also the fact that you kind of developing a new languages, I don't know, that was my experience with myself. I learned new side of me that I didn't know. Like the Italian version of me is not, it was not aware, or is still not aware, because I develop in this side of this country, in the way that my brain function in English, I don't know. And that relationship were formed in that moment of my life were just so strong. Like, I think I will keep it forever.
So you think you have two personalities?
Yes.
The English, the American one, and the Italian one.
Do you agree? Do you feel the same?
Yes, I feel the same. I feel like there's also a big shift once you're here longer. You like get to understand why the people thinking that way. Like at first, like when you go on vacation somewhere, you see the place, but you have no idea what's happening. If you're there a little bit longer, you see the place and you get to know a couple people. But when you really live somewhere for a little bit, then there was like a big shift for me where I started to understand a little bit why are the people that way. Did you go through something similar? Like,
yeah, more than understanding why people are that way is like understanding what is to build from ground up. Like, I feel that when you experience to a place and you actually start to build a life from zero to that place, you just have a whole different attachment to that place and a all different perspective to that place. Whereas if you go to vacation in that place, it's like, oh, that's my enjoyable place where I go on vacation. But like, if you actually understand what that place is giving you on a daily basis, on like where I can find a job, where I can do that, like function wise, you really realize, okay, this is a place where I can see myself long term or not. I don't know, it's a whole different way to look at things.
Yeah, it's just so opening from your perspectives because there's so many new things that you can't imagine before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I've lived in an apartment with a guy from Israel, from Germany, and from America, and me from Austria. And we were sharing our lives because we had this apartment where we share bedrooms and bathroom and the living room. So there was always someone in the living room or around. And it was this pure, like, it was a very interesting living situation, and we all learned so much and got to know each other so well and had so much fun with each other.
Yeah, and you start to have fun with the smallest little thing. Like, I feel that back at home you need the big party to have fun or something like that, like you have that big occasion. Over here you really learn how to have fun literally sitting on the couch and having this conversation about how practice went the day before, and you laugh about the smallest stuff, and those are the memories that honestly I will keep the most. Like, I don't know, it's such a, and you get to learn so much also about the people around you. Like, as you said, I used to live with a girl from Egypt, another one from Brazil. My whole team was literally composed from people from all over the world. You get to learn so much about their cultures, their way to do things. And it's like, it's different when you go and visit a place and you see the place and the culture, but it's different when you live with them and you really experience those culture on a day-to-day basis.
I really agree, yeah. That's what I tried to explain before, like the difference between seeing something and understanding it.
I totally get it. If you would think about your freshman year self, what advice would you give it to him?
I think one of the advices would be to be more focused on academics or try to build something more, to be more outstanding on that side, because I realized now how extremely competitive America is. You only get hired if you're the best. You don't just get hired because you have a good GPA and you do fine at school and you're a student athlete. You still need to do more to get to the big companies. So, like, looking back now, because I'm also going through job search, so it's right now this time where I wish someone would have pushed me even more to say, hey, do something special to stand out more. That would have been one of the things.
I am so glad that you pointed out, because that's what I'm trying to explain to people that come and ask me, how did you got the job offer that you have? I was so lucky that somebody in my sophomore year told me you should apply for that job. And if it wasn't for that person, I would probably be in your same position right now. But I feel that when you're in your sophomore year, freshman year, you just go to America, you just want to enjoy. Like, as soon as you have some time for free, you just want to go visit the city, go have fun, go experience those little moments that we were talking about before, and you don't really think of the long run, but it definitely does make a difference. So
yeah, there's definitely space to do that. You don't have to give up everything.
Exactly. There is a good balance.
Yeah, or maybe looking for internships. It all depends. I get it, it's hard because you don't know what you want to do in the future, but some people could use a little more push, including me in my freshman year, but I figured it out, and I'm gonna get there eventually.
What do you feel that are one of the biggest cultural differences between Austria and here? Like not soccer wise, but like on a day-to-day life.
What I struggled a lot with is language.
Okay.
And I don't mean the English language, I mean how you speak. Like, hi, how are you? Doesn't, like, it took me a while to understand it doesn't mean asking someone how they are. It just means hi. And like, I came here and I met people that said to me, oh, we should go and have a coffee next week. And I was like, yeah, sure, when? And they looked at me strange and I was like, oh.
Oh my God, this is so real. I feel it's just different. Like, I feel that Americans are wired different than, I don't know, because I had the same experience, but there is this surface level of like, I will not say fakeness because it sounds bad, but that's kind of what it comes to. Is like, oh yeah, we can do that next week. It's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
Or like, they are gonna be there for you, like in the way that they communicate emotion. Also, the fact that they say "I love you" after 10 minutes. I don't know. For me, it's crazy. But like the way they communicate emotion seems so close to you, but then it's actually not real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's different.
They call it warmness, or some people say it's warmer to talk that way, but it's like a culture shock as an European, where you're used to say yes, no, that's the problem. And
Go straight to the point.
And if you don't want anything, then don't speak to me, and it's okay. And here it's like, oh.
Yeah.
I remember going to the mall, and then there's this person, hey, how are you? Can I help you with anything? And I'm like, no, I just want to look through stuff. Like, and it's like, oh, you're rude. Why? Because you didn't say hi, how are you too? And it's like, oh. Okay.
Yeah, and it comes off like if you actually mind your business and you just keep doing whatever you were doing at home, it comes off like aggressive, like rude, and it's actually not that. It's actually you minding your business and just live your life without, I don't know, caring too much about the feelings of the person in front of you type of thing. But yeah,
it's a very different approach also with friends. Here you're friends with everyone, and at home it's more like, okay, it's okay to say I don't have that many friends because you focus like on a smaller group, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big culture shock, I think. And also, I mean, the opportunities, and the second for me was the size, because Austria, like in the longest drive you can make, or I ever did, was 6.5 hours, and that was like this crazy long drive that we did through whole Austria. And here in the US it's like 4 hours. Okay,
Let's take a day trip and we come back in 2 hours.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, and the travel with the team also is insane, because back at home we will do like an hour travel for the game, and that would be already a lot. Like it would be something that you do once a week. Here you have 3 games per week, 2 of them are away, and we're talking about 6-hour bus drive, and another one 3 days later, 10 hours bus drive.
Yeah.
Like
we even once got the chance to fly in a chartered jet with our football team, so it was even crazier. We got to the bus drove onto the driveway next to the plane, so we just got a taste of how the football team and the basketball team fly all the time.
That's insane.
It was so cool. We'd always travel the day before the games, sleep in a hotel, drive home the next day. So
such a different way to approach away games. I got the chance to fly with the team, but I never had an actual pre-vet like a basketball and football, so I cannot even imagine that experience.
it was super cool.
I bet.
We were already lucky the way we got to travel with like a bus for just our team, where we all we didn't have to double up, and we had hotel rooms the day before. We always had good food catered to the hotel, so it was
fancy.
But we were the middle of that. There was still football, basketball. Like there's so many higher teams that get treated a lot better than us. And just to get a taste of how it is to get in a bus, and the bus drives next to the airplane that's waiting on the airport, then you get in without security checks. Basically, it's just someone who looks in your bag and checks your ID. Okay, go in.
That's insane.
And then you come home, and the bus waits again right next to the plane. You don't need to go through the gate. You just go on the bus, and the bus drops you off at university.
It's literally like being a pro player type of thing, and it's just insane.
Unreal, yeah.
And then you realize why people stop you in the dorm, as you said before, and be like, hey, how are you? Like, they know you, obviously, because you've been treated like you're a pro player, pretty much.
Yeah. And you also realize why some people look harsh at you, because You come in here from who knows where and you play, or you get a spot at the D1 and you don't even know what it is. And for Americans, they grow up, it's that thing they want to achieve, play D1.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that was very interesting moments. Like, I remember once I met people and they asked me, "Oh, are you on scholarship?" And I don't know, at home you don't talk about any of this kind. And I was like, "Oh, I don't even know what to say."
What did you say?
I didn't say anything.
Just ignored them.
Yeah, I was just confused. I think I acted like I didn't understand. I was like, oh, I don't
That's
know.
It's always the good excuse. Like, sorry, I don't speak English.
In the worst case, I speak German. I'm like, oh.
What is one of your favorite memories that you have from those years?
I formed big connections to my coaches and also people around. So there was obviously many afternoons with my friends from all around and travels and my parents coming here, graduation, winning games. Every single game we won is like winning the Champions League, right? So it's this rush of going somewhere and winning great and just being happy about it. So there's this endless timeline, I'd say.
I love that. I know that you're about to graduate soon. Do you have already some plans for what is coming next? Well, what are your thoughts regarding that? Are you staying here? Are you planning to go back?
Yeah, I'm currently working at Northbridge. So it's a very interesting part where it fits very well for my personal story to help internationals get jobs in the US. So we're starting to work that out and going live soon. So we'll see where it goes. I hope to be part of that longer and obviously grow as a software engineer. That's what I want to work as in the long term. And America is the country of the opportunities, right? So you don't know what's happening tomorrow, but helping other people and growing and pushing as hard as I can is definitely on top of the list.
I get that. And why you just think that it's easier to do it here? Or like, why did you exclude going back home?
So I don't think it's easier here, but there's just a different kind of environment here. Like, you don't understand when you're in Austria how easy it is here to make so much money, but also how easy it is to kind of lose it all. And there's not a lot in between. Like, there's this rush of, oh, you can get a job at these big companies. And I've been at the Google office and I was like, wow, they get free food every time. And there's cooks and a coffee place with a barber, with a coffee maker and a game room where you can play all kinds of things at your work.
That's insane. Wow.
I've never seen that in Europe like that before. That you get food 3 times a day, fresh cooked if you want.
So do you agree with the American dream? Like,
I guess everyone has their own American dream, right? So you have to find that, and it's hard that things like no work-life balance, like this is not the American dream. That no one talks about that many people are not even on the clock because it's like get your stuff done, and if someone else does it quicker than you, you're out.
It's competitive. Yes. Way more competitive than people can think.
But if you figure your stuff out in good time, then you're a champion. So this is like I would say this is part of the American dream. So I don't know if it's good or bad. Like, it's just when you've experienced it once, it like has its own kind of feeling, excitement.
I get that. Going towards the end of this episode, I ask this to everybody. If you would have to summarize these past 5 years for you now in the US and your all student athlete experience with one word, what would it be and why?
I'd say unreal.
Okay, I like that. Very interesting approach.
Yeah, because it seems like a movie when you think about it. I came here from Austria and I was team captain for 5 years, and you know, I got to know all these people as best friends from around the world. I played in different cities in the US. I lived at the family who hosted me to play in Virginia, and they were my host family, strangers who took me in and were like my parents to me and opened their house for me just because I played soccer for the club that they supported. And
oh wow, that's awesome.
I drove from Colorado to Pittsburgh on a motorcycle, and my tire blew up and I got towed from these big guys in the big tow truck. And if someone would have told me those things before, I would have said it's from a movie. it's not realistic. So having all these memories now is just unreal.
I totally agree. And it doesn't stop. Like, I thought that, okay, now it's 5 years that I'm in the US and it just like, it gets normal. It never gets normal. Like, I feel that, I don't know if it's the US or like the fact that it's outside of your like comfort zone or like where you live, but it's always these feelings that like everything is so, it doesn't feel real. Like, how did I ended up here with this random guy helping me out? Or like, how did we, like the fact that I'm recording a podcast with people from all over the world, sometimes it doesn't feel real.
Yeah.
Like, if I would have told myself 5 years ago, I would never believe it. So you couldn't find better way to explain it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I really, really enjoyed our conversation. And thank you so much, guys, for listening and watching. I'll see you to the next one.
Perfect. Thank you as well.